All right, great. Um, so starting from the beginning, tell me a little bit more about yourself. You mentioned college basketball and then going to Minnetonka. The coach, is he still coaching there?
Yeah, so it's his first year. He's originally from Minnesota, and we were together at the College of Charleston, which is in Charleston, South Carolina. So this is his first year being the head coach, and he kind of hired me on as an assistant. You know, my first real job transitioning out of playing basketball internationally in college. So yeah.
That's awesome. And then when you were traveling around, where did you play ball at all over the world, or like give me a breakdown?
So I've been out for, I guess this is going on my first fourth year out of school. My first 2 years I actually played in Australia, and then I went to Mexico for about 3 months. So finished up there and came here.
That's great.
It was pretty good experience.
Yeah, and just traveling and being able to see the world, it's stuff that you're
Yeah.
fortunate to do. That I'm sure you've got a lot of experiences under your belt.
Oh yeah, yeah. I wouldn't trade for anything. It was really good.
That's great. So what is it about real estate? Is there anybody in the family that's in real estate, or what kind of draws you to real estate?
No, honestly, no one in my family does real estate. You know, I have no real estate background, honestly. What really drew me to real estate was actually Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I read that like my first year out of school, and it just I don't know, it just kind of enticed me, and then I kind of found that I always had like a love for real estate, and then just doing more research, studying, coming across guys like Grant Cardone, I actually got into the commercial aspect of it, and I was like, wow, like, well, if I'm gonna do it, I would love to do it, as big as possible. So that's kind of what drew me in, really, and just the financial freedom aspect of it.
And then owning real estate is an interest, but then also selling real estate. So two separate things, but interested in both, right?
Exactly, exactly, and just the selling side of it because I would like to understand that, and I love, like I said, I love the numbers, and I can just crunch those numbers all day. So it's just something I love to do.
That's great. So go for it. I mean, you mentioned you got some questions. I'll have some more questions for you, but start it off.
Okay, well, my first one is pretty much, for like a new real estate agent, how do you go about, getting into the industry, the commercial real estate industry? Because I heard that it was pretty hard, kind of like it's the old boys game, and then it's hard to get in. So how did you, go about getting that brokerage to interview you, or even giving you a chance to even come into the industry as a 25-year-old?
So my story is I started a lawn care company, and very similar to you, I was interested in real estate because I saw people that were successful in my local community owning real estate. Some sold real estate, and I decided to get my license early on because a friend had pushed me, but I didn't do anything with my license. So got my license at Kaplan University, which is up there in Minneapolis. It's one of those, I think it's 3-week type of course that you got to go to,
Mhm.
and then test it out of it. Hung my license at a residential real estate firm for a while and continued to build my lawn care company, snow removal, irrigation, things like that. And then at one point decided I wanted to get out of that. My partner wanted to get out of it. So we sold it. He took his real estate license and has been building an auction company focused on land. And then I decided to just try to build a commercial real estate career. And how I did it is exactly, I would say it's very similar to how we built Ground Force, was the name of our facility service company, using the internet to our advantage. Obviously the things, and those things, hard work, persistence, all those things, it's the same thing that goes through playing college ball at the level that you were at. I mean, you got that. It's what I applied is the internet to this type of career. And how I did it is I recognized I had no one in my family in the business. I recognized I needed to somehow get my name known related to commercial. I didn't know how to do big deals. I had one guy that kind of brought me under his wing, but he was doing it part-time. So he wasn't a commercial real estate practitioner that was selling all kinds of stuff. He just said I could hang my license with him. And I recognized there was not a lot of people focusing in our market on small office space. And that was an easy one to establish relationships with for landlords, because I would show up and they would give me a chance to try to market their small office space. So I would get listings on $200 to $500 to $800 a month type office space. And I did what I knew best is I put them online on LoopNet And at that time, which was probably 4 years ago, there was hardly any listings on LoopNet. If you're a commercial real estate agent, you want to market on LoopNet, you got to pay in order to make your listings public. If you don't pay, they're private, and then that means the searcher has to pay. Well, no one searching for real estate wanted to pay, and the local real estate agents, commercial agents, hadn't figured out that they needed to have their listings online. So there was a period of time, and I don't know the exact time frame, but I really looked like I was the only player online. And so I put listings online. Let's say I had 10 small office spaces. I made them available. I paid for a subscription. I started getting a Google business page. I started kind of being active on social, but mainly started showing small office spaces. And because I looked like the biggest fish in the sea for a period of time, it led to other deals. People would inquire on stuff, and just like it led to a meeting here and it led to a meeting there. And next thing you know, I had sold a building, and I was about a year and a half in. So that's kind of my story, working the internet at that level at that point in time. That built my name in the smaller community, and day after day after day after day of putting in work, eventually it continually grew out.
Okay, it's pretty interesting. So are you still with the same brokerage that you started out with?
No, so my broker ended up moving out of state. His main gig is he's in pharmacy type of business, and so he moved out of state. And so I was kind of sitting there like, I got to find somebody. And my now partner, his name is Nick Pompagne. His family had started Realty Growth Incorporated in Rochester, Minnesota in 1978. He was coming back from college. He knew about me because he had heard my name. He asked me out for breakfast one time. And he's like, look, would you want to come and hang out at our office and hang your license with us? Because my dad doesn't come into the office all the time. We got another veteran that doesn't come into the office all the time. And I'm kind of there by myself. And I did that. And so that was like 3 years ago. And very quickly, what I brought is, again, that internet groundwork. I remember the specific day I went into our team meeting and I said, and Ed was there, who's the founder of our company. And I said, Ed, can we put your listings online? And he goes, why would we put them online? I've never got a lead online. I'm like, oh, they're not online. That's why you've never got a lead online. Because this is how it works. But that's the old mentality of our industry of not recognizing the power of the internet and what it can do for business. And I'll get into it further, but content marketing is where I'm headed next. But listing, just getting your listings online. Now people are starting to get that more and more. It's a must. You have to, and you see it across markets. But it was amazing just 3 years ago in our market, that comment comes up from one of the veterans of the industry, the guy in town. There's only 3 guys in town really, and he was one of them. And he's like, why would we put it online? So that just proved it. So then very quickly we put listings online, and what did it do? It opened up more opportunities. It's just how it kept going. And obviously the market got good, which helped. And now we've built it up in a matter of 3 years to where we have 11 team members. Now the most active team members, I would say all 9 of them are real active. They're doing it every single day. There's 2 team members that are not. One is our office admin, where she's licensed, but she's not, and she's really operations manager. She does a ton of stuff, but she's really not active selling. And then there's my father, who's really got his license, 1, to just help me, his son, and 2, just to kind of do something a little bit different than his main gig. He owns a small restaurant in Rochester. So other than that, we're a young, especially for our industry and our community, we're a young team. There's about 5 of us all in our 20s.
Impressive. Okay. My next one is, so once you knew, you pretty much know that you want to get into commercial real estate, and maybe you found a brokerage who you hang your license with. What would you say the agent can do to kind of hit the ground running?
So once you get your license, once you're in a firm, what do you got to do to hit the ground running? I would, and this is so you've heard of Grant Cardone. Have you heard of Gary Vaynerchuk?
Of course.
Right. So Gary Vaynerchuk talks about documenting. And so I think I would start documenting your journey today, and I would document that entire journey all the way throughout. So for example, we're recording this right now. That's documentation. I have this camera right here. This is documentation. I have my phone, which is documentation. And so you have to figure out a way to start creating content about what you're interested in. And that's hitting the ground running. And then from there, you start building your name online related to commercial real estate. People see your journey of going to class, see your journey of getting your license, see your journey of the celebration when you got it, see the journey of you joining your commercial real estate firm. Next thing you know, you show up with your license the first day and someone's going to say, I know somebody that's interested in commercial real estate. That wouldn't be what you would hear from people that have been in the industry for years, right? The people that you'd hear that have been in the industry for years would say, well, all right, go get your license and then show up. And then when you show up, we're going to give you the phone book and you're going to start calling, or you're going to go ride along with a mentor. And not that any of those things can't work, but if you want to hit the ground running today, it's starting to document, like straight up going live on Facebook. And I notice you don't have a lot of things going on Facebook, but do it. Go live on Facebook and be like, all right, this feels weird, but I want to share something. My real estate license. I have always been interested. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. There's something about it. That's it. That's the start of hitting the ground running.
Impressive. Okay, and this is kind of a side question. I actually didn't have this written down, but it just popped in my head. Do you think a person can kind of mix residential and commercial, or do you think they should just focus on just one?
I think it depends on where you're at in relation to the world. So where we sit in Rochester, Minnesota, it's 120,000 population of people. There's only so many people that own commercial buildings. Our firm, it's funny when I go to bigger markets, Minneapolis and things like that, they're like, so what do you specialize in? And I'm like, commercial real estate. And they're like, well, yeah, I know, but what type of commercial real estate? And I'm like, all of it. Like our market is at a size that we do industrial, we do small spaces, we have developers looking for land, apartments. Another thing we do is, I really think, like for yourself, if you have an interest in owning properties all around, buying residential rentals is where you can start. You're not going to show up and buy a $200,000 commercial building just because there's not a lot of $200,000 commercial buildings. Like you got to be up to the 500 plus to really get into your first commercial building. That being said, you start with residential rentals. And I think you can do, depending on the size of your market, you can do multiple things. I wouldn't, especially out of the gates, corner myself into a specialty. I would just label myself as a commercial real estate agent. Now, if I were selling people's houses because they want to be a first-time home buyer and things like that, had I done it, yes, I probably sold 20 houses to people that were first-time home buyers, but I did not provide them the quality of service that I know residential real estate agents will provide them, because they understand the tools, because they understand values. Not that I completely fell on my face. Like I still worked my tail off, and they got a good deal, and we did the deal, but I just I'm not passionate about it. So I think it's difficult. And with your two passions being kind of related to each other, owning investment properties and then wanting to help people buy and sell investment properties or find spaces for their business, it's easier to do those two together versus having a husband, wife trying to buy their first house. And it's just a whole different ballgame. I would refer all day long. That would be my opinion, because you'll get the referrals back.
Good point. And as I've been doing more and more research on the commercial real estate agent, I ran across the CCIM. How important is that for you to get that? And are people like more reluctant not to work with you if you don't have it?
So the founder of our company became a CCIM a long time ago. He's a huge advocate for it. I understand exactly where he's coming from because of those tools, because of that designation, because of really the community that's created with the CCIM. He is somebody that knows commercial real estate. He's not just a salesperson, right? You can be a salesperson, but do you actually know what's a good deal and what's not a good deal for your customer and for yourself? Because he did CCIM, he found out how to analyze a deal up and down. When you say you're good at numbers, I would say absolutely you need to do it. Even if you're not good at numbers, it's definitely worth doing. I just think that my personal strengths, so my strengths don't necessarily lie in the spreadsheets and analyzing the deal. So not to say I won't finish my CCIM, because I have started it. I just don't know how much I personally will be applying the tools. That's where we are developing a team. So we have individuals that are better at certain things, and we have a structure that makes it so everybody can win with their strengths. That is, if it's your strength, yeah, definitely. Like I would get on that right away if numbers are your thing, because what it will do for you is when you get in, and I would document that whole thing, by the way, as well. What it will do for you is it will just help you understand what is a good deal. And so that way, when you're selling something, you're not just selling it because you need the money to live. You're selling it because you know it's a good deal for the person, so their business is going to be successful, so they're going to plan for retirement. So you're putting people into the right deals. That's what a great advisor does. And Ed, our founder, he lives and breathes by it. He's like, you got to do it. So
yeah. Okay, and for me, I think I'm in a pretty good situation because I know that I want to do real estate, and I have about 2 months. I plan on moving back to North Carolina to do it, so I have about 2 months before I start the class. And I like to be as prepared as possible. That could come from my basketball background, but this is kind of like the preseason for me.
yeah.
So going into that, do you have anything like any books you recommend for a commercial real estate agent to read to kind of shorten that learning curve?
So specific for commercial real estate, I struggle. I'm not a reader, so that's one thing I struggle with as well of answering that. I'm much more of a watcher and a listener. So let me think here out loud. CCIM books I struggle with. My strength is marketing as well. So books focused on commercial real estate, I struggle with. And obviously, because our industry is behind on the times when it comes to the internet, it's tough to even point you towards videos. But what I would say is I can push you towards people. So Rivers Evans is from, I believe, Raleigh, North Carolina. Rivers is now working in a tech company, but his family comes from a commercial real estate background, and I'll get you his contact. That person understands commercial real estate, and I would point you towards him for a conversation like this, and I know he would be up for something like that, I'm sure. Julie Augustine is in commercial real estate, also from North Carolina, and she would be another great resource, and she may be able to push you towards a book, right? But she'll have other advice as well. Other people to watch. Eddie Gonzalez, this guy is from Arizona, and he is newer in the business. He's probably a year and a half, 2 years in. I met him early on in his journey, and he would be another great individual for you to chat with because he is grabbing the bulls by the horn, and he's holding on, around. I've been talking to him relatively regularly, and I hear about the goods and I hear about the bads of like, this is really tough. And like, I got some people telling me I need to be calling through the phone book. And then I got you, Bucky, saying I need to be on Snapchat. Like I get mixed messaging. So yeah, he's another good individual. And then I think I would push you towards marketing books, content creation books. Again, I'm not a big reader, but I just got done with this conversation about Seth Price, who's coming up with a book related to content marketing. And that's where I would push you, because I think you get into the right team, they're going to know the stuff about commercial real estate that's going to make you successful once you build the relationships. Yeah. What you're going to need help with is building the relationships. What I know helps build the relationships is content marketing. So I watch Gary Vee a lot. I dislike how much he swears, but he is good about everything else. I learned from residential real estate agents a lot. There's a Facebook group called the Snap Pack. It's up to like 1,500 members, might be 3,000. I can't remember, but it's a big number. And these are all people that are using social to help their residential real estate business. And I would push you towards that. Yeah, content marketing books like Gary Vee's Ask Gary Vee, Jab, 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 Right Hook. My friend Chelsea Pites is coming out with a Snapchat book. So that's where I would push you, because if you get that content game down by reading books and learning and things like that, and you get hooked up with the right team that can teach you numbers and teach you all the other things that good teams understand, you combine those two, and I think you'll be extremely surprised at how quickly you'll advance in an industry that has always been told you got to be in it for years. You got to have someone in the business, whatever the case is.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And just as a new commercial real estate agent, I know you should know about, the market trends, analyzing data. What else are some things you think a new real estate agent should know about, when they're choosing between commercial and residential?
What should they know about when comparing the two? I think that recognize that commercial real estate has a big focus on business, and residential real estate has a big focus on how do I put it? I'm not focusing on it, but just people's lives, like, you know, their whole family life, their whole emotions are tied into it. So many things. They're just two separate animals. So you got to figure out like what type of person are you that is going to vibe well in the two different scenarios. When I get into a house and someone starts talking about the interior and the feel of the house, I struggle. And so it just doesn't work for me. I think that if you can find other people that can help validate that you're on the right track, I think that helps too. So talk to residential real estate agents, ask them what they've thought about the business. Young and old people that have been in it, you'll find those people in the Snap Pack group. For me, the thing I like about commercial real estate is there's so many places you can take it. Meaning I'm a commercial real estate agent, but I'm also a commercial property owner. And the only reason I've become a commercial property owner is really being the boots on the ground as a commercial agent. I someday dream to be into commercial development. The only reason I'll get into commercial development is because I started as a commercial real estate agent and could learn from other developers and could start seeing how the pieces work. If I ever want to build another business, let's say I want to build a camera manufacturing business or something like that, well, that business is going to need a location. That business is going to need, whether it's leased or owned, is going to need some type of plan related to real estate, and I'll understand that aspect of it. And again, I think commercial real estate versus residential, it's just untapped when it comes to our age, when it comes to us understanding the internet. It's just untapped. So I would push, I obviously love commercial real estate.
Right. Yeah. I feel the same way. I definitely feel like it's an untapped market. And that's, I read a little stuff on the internet, and they were saying how it's still kind of a roller deck industry, if you will. And that kind of, I don't know, they kind of enticed me because we can kind of revolutionize, the commercial real estate industry. So that's something that kind of drew me to it. But yeah, those are pretty much all the questions that I had. Thank you for answering those.
One thing I would point out too is the community right now that I find on commercial real estate is on Twitter, unlike residential. Residential is on Snapchat and Facebook. So you got to figure out where the communities exist and how you're going to kind of manage communication with different communities so you can continually learn from them. If you go to Twitter and you look up the hashtag CRE marketing or CRE tech, those two hashtags are the most active, and CRE are the most active hashtags on Twitter, where you can meet other individuals. And so I've learned from individuals that are building tools for commercial real estate, like Real Massive is a listing service, and I've got to talk to the head of marketing and all kinds of people. And it's only because I get in and I ask questions on Twitter and I start to get to know them and I build a relationship. So I'm doing that as well. Does that lead to sales? Well, no, but it leads to me knowing about the best tools that I can then hopefully apply to my team, which then is going to make us the best team, or myself as one of the best team players. And so I'm a part of that as well, because I recognize not only is my and your and my team's competitive advantage using the internet, it's using the internet for bringing business in, it's using the internet for managing business using these tools, and it's using the internet to manage data so that we can make better decisions for ourselves, for our customers, and things like that. So tech overall is where it's at. How you figure out about that stuff is the internet.
All right. And as far as when you were looking to hang your license with a brokerage, what exactly were you looking for? Were you just ready to jump on?
Yeah. So for me, there wasn't a lot of brokerages to choose from. Our market does not have any of the big players. We don't have JLL. We don't have Colliers. We are the old school market, right? There's the three guys, you know their names, and they haven't really built a team of a firm model. If they were to retire, there may be one person to take over their business, or it's probably just done. And so the example of the firm that I joined, why did I join it, is because there's another young, like-minded person. He doesn't use the internet like I do. And he'll say it. He's like, I don't get that stuff. But he understands that it's important, and he allows me to go and do my thing to bring it back to the team. And he just joined Instagram, a month ago, and here I am, and look at my Instagram, dude, and I'm blowing it up every day. We're opposite spectrums, but we complement each other because he loves commercial real estate as well. So I think for me, what draws me is people that understand where our world is headed. And not that the old school guys, you can't learn from them. It's just that if you can combine the two, man, there's some magic to happen.
All right, and then another one for you. I'm in my own thoughts a lot, and as far as this might not, like you said, it might not count towards commercial, but I know for residential, there's a lot of rumor and stuff about the internet just completely wiping out real estate agents. How do you feel about that?
I find it tough, especially in commercial, meaning these people are looking for financial advisors to help them make decisions that are either going to help their business be more successful, help them plan for retirement, help them dispose of assets that helps them get out of a situation. They need an advisor. So they need a real estate advisor. So in order to make the best decision, I think advisors do not go away. That being said, do I think sales agent mentality goes away? Yes, because the internet is now making it to where all the listings are accessible. I can't tell you how many people I've worked with that I didn't get signed up, and they ended up making a decision by finding a listing online. And they're experienced investors. They've done this before. They don't necessarily need me, and that's okay. But they still come back to me every once in a while trying to look for a deal. But I tell you what, they aren't my juicy customers. They aren't the people I build a relationship with for life. Those are the people that kind of just come and go. The people that are going to continually need help are the ones that are making these difficult decisions that probably haven't done it before, similar to positions that you and I have been in and that we are in. People that just don't want to make it like their main focus. They want to do it, but they don't want to like get to know the ins and outs, and they have money to invest and they don't want to do the stock market. So is it going to go away? It's a long time. I don't see it. It's not going to, but I think you have to recognize the value you need to bring is the stuff you learn from CIM, the stuff you learn from the veterans, the stuff you learn related to marketing. So you just have to change the value. It no longer is, if you talk to me, I'll show you the property. It's like, look, I've already seen the property. I don't need you to look at the property. I've seen a 360 model online. I'm good. What I need you for is understanding, is this a good deal or a bad deal?
Perfect. Yeah, no, that's perfect. That's pretty much all the questions that I had as far as commercial real estate agents goes.
Cool. One other tip I would give you. So it was only 2 years ago I started working on Snapchat. I love video, but unless Snapchat, unless I would have, if I didn't find Snapchat, I don't know that I would have been putting out as much YouTube content as I have lately and as much as I have planned. So the reason that is because it was kind of that fear of like bringing my profession to social, because how many people I thought actually wanted to hear it. Snapchat got me in the habit of documenting my day every single day. And then from there, it made me recognize, hey, I kind of enjoy sharing this story. I can share it on other platforms. And it got me in the habit of doing it. And it didn't have anybody really following me on Snapchat. Like I didn't have friends, like I didn't add anybody. Now I started sharing myself out there and putting it on other channels, and then people started following me, which led to building relationships. But it's people that are like-minded. So Snapchat is a good place to start. I understand where some people are afraid, like with Facebook, because it's like, well, then everybody's going to see it. My grandma's going to see it. Everybody's going to see it. I don't know if I'm ready for that. Snapchat's a really good place to start.
Okay, perfect.
And I document every single day. It's like nonstop. Now, Snapchat, when I started, Instagram stories wasn't out. Facebook Messenger wasn't out. Now, if you were good in front of camera, like you liked it and you felt good about it and you were like, I got this, I would tell you start probably in Instagram and Facebook because you'll have more viewers. But if you're just wanting to practice and try to get used to this thing, I would say do Snapchat, because you just won't have a lot of people. I'll follow you, dude, and we can have conversations on there, but you just won't have a lot of people probably following you.
Okay, gotcha. And so you think it would be a good idea to start documenting from now until I get my real estate license and so on and so forth?
The whole journey, because people are so interested in that, and it will lead to business right away. The whole journey. I am not joking you one bit. Like, it's odd to say it because it's not what we are used to, but the more transparent you can be, that's like me. Some people would say, why would you share advice related to how to market a property and how you can use social to market a property? It's because, look, 99% aren't going to, 99% of the people aren't going to actually apply it. Now, 1% will, but this world is a big world, and there's way more opportunities out there versus trying to hide my cards. And a lot of that's due to the internet. Back in the day when we didn't have the internet, the guys that were doing deals in Rochester, like, they couldn't share that they wanted to build something over here. They couldn't share how they were selling something because the guys that were competing, like, they were in the same, you know, they just were going to probably try to steal it from them. So so yeah, document as much as, and Snapchat's where it's at. I love Snapchat because it's completely, for me, recognize that I can be creative with my business at the same time. And all those, if you've been on my YouTube, I mean, I've put all my Snap stories on there. Not that they're perfectly polished, but they don't need to be. It's just
definitely. And that was actually going to be my next question, as far as like just editing it, or do you want to edit it, or do you just put it out there, just let it go?
Just put it out there, let it go. That makes it real. Now I'm starting to get to a point where I'm trying to get some editing, but it's a balance. You have your documentation, which people expect it to be rough and they like it to be from your iPhone. That's real. That's you. That's you and I just chatting right now. But then the fine-tuned stuff, like, that's where you can really impress some people and be like, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about. And this guy, he's helping people. And, like, you know, if I want to get into the daily V's, for example, I can watch all the daily V's. But if I want to get into, like, the key points, I go into this stuff. And it's the editing will come, but don't think you need it out the gates, because it costs money. And you can do so much right here from your phone. It's ridiculous. You can edit, you can shoot, you can add text, you can add music, you can do it all right from here. So do it from your phone as much as possible.
Definitely. And something that actually just popped back in my head, do you do leasing as well, or do you just sell?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
We do it all. It's you name it. Lease space, sell space, all that.
Perfect. Now, starting out, what would you have done different starting out? Would you have kept everything the same, or do you have things that you would have done different?
I would have started documenting earlier. Dude, that's it. That's the only thing. Like, if I look back and I regret. And then the other thing, probably focus. I'm a guy that I don't always focus, where it's like, all right, we're going to do this, and then we're going to go start that, and we're going to go start this. It's like, oh, even now, it's like, man, now you understand content creation, how important it is. Like, okay, I need to be doing that, you know? So focus in on it and get my team to be doing it. And so focus and then documenting. Because if I would have documented that whole story, I can tell you already there would be more opportunities. Not that I'm complaining one bit. I'm happy as can be. But I can tell you there would be a lot more opportunities at my doorstep.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay. Yeah, that's something that I definitely have to apply is documenting. So that's perfect.
Cool, man. Well, thank you for the conversation. I really, honestly, I was so happy when I saw that Facebook message, because I'm like, no way, somebody actually found me on YouTube. You're the first guy that, like, reached out and was like, I want to talk about commercial real estate. I'm kind of interested. This stuff is the best. You know, this is what it's all about.
No, thank you. Like you said, it's so hard to find stuff, and like I can find stuff on a residential real estate agents all day, but it's so hard to find stuff on commercial. So I thank you for even giving me the time to ask these questions and get a better understanding of it.
Yeah, and then follow me on Snapchat. That's a great place, but interact with me anywhere. I don't care if it's Facebook or wherever. And then I will send you on Facebook all the people I mentioned, great residential real estate agents, Facebook group, all things that I can think of that would be a good help for you. And yes, start documenting.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
You bet. We'll see you, Anthony.
All right.